Okay, so today we're going to be going over one of the best kept secrets in the trading space. I'm talking about a tool that almost everybody uses, but almost nobody talks about. And I know, as someone that is experienced in the trading world, you're probably thinking, Rico, this is like self-explanatory things. These are things that people should just automatically know. But we also have to remember that as someone that is brand new, coming in with no experience whatsoever, they don't know about things like this. And whether you're trading Forex, cryptos, binary options, or even stocks, TradingView is a tool and a platform that I believe everybody should become more familiar with. So in this video, we're going to be giving you a full tutorial and breakdown on how to use the platform as a brand new trader, going over some of my personal favorite features of the platform so that you can come in with no experience whatsoever and get right to making your money. Let's get into it. Now, if you guys are not already familiar with TradingView.com, I personally like to use the downloaded version. You can go straight to the web and use it from the website itself, or you can actually download TradingView to your computer or device. You can get the actual app if you're on mobile and be able to use it from the app too. I have the downloaded version so that whenever I turn on my computer, I don't have to open up a browser and go to the website. I simply just click the icon and it opens up my TradingView. Now, I know a lot of you guys that follow me are probably following me and looking to trade or are already trading binary options. And with a lot of binary options platform, they do allow you to do your markups and to do your analysis on the platform itself. I personally don't do it, and I don't recommend doing it. One of the biggest questions that I get in the binary option space, especially with the issues with brokers and manipulation and everything like that, people always ask me, how do you know that the broker isn't manipulating the price? Or if, hey, is this even a good broker? And does this broker manipulate prices? And one of the ways that I avoid that, or avoid even worrying about that, is that whenever I trade, I always make sure that my broker prices match up perfectly with what's being shown on TradingView. So this is why I personally do all of my markups, all of my analysis on TradingView, because if there's anything fishy going on with a broker, I know immediately, because TradingView shows the actual market prices. So whatever was going on in the broker, if it's different, I know that broker is probably sketchy. Now, that doesn't just apply to binary options, that applies to all brokers and all styles of trading. If you guys are wondering about manipulation and if prices are being manipulated by a broker, especially if you're on an unregulated platform, again, the best way to go about doing this, in my opinion, is just doing your markups and getting your actual trading setups from a platform like TradingView, which offers prices from actual regulated exchanges, and this just makes your life so much easier. So let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off, and we're going to be starting from the left-hand side of the screen, as I believe this is going to be where you find most of your time being used at, which is taking advantage of all of the different tools that you have access to with the TradingView platform. And by far, you are not going to find most of these tools. This is probably going to be the most tools that you've ever had access to, which includes trading on your broker and also includes trading on MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. I just think TradingView just has a much wider range of things for you to be able to use and utilize. So let's go ahead and start from the left. So at the very top of the left hand side, as you guys see, you're going to have your crosshair button. So this is just pretty much your crosshairs that you use. You can make it a dot, right, if that's what you're into. Just customize your crosshair. You can make it, your regular arrow if that's what you want, right, for your screen. You can do an eraser as well. Okay, boom. I just like to keep it on crosshairs. I like crosshairs a lot better because, again, even when you're looking at your charts, you can kind of get a better, I would say, view of like the current price. So let's just say I'm looking at the top of a body, for example. I can put the exact crosshair here. I can see the vertical line going down on the candle that I'm looking at, and then the horizontal line going across to the exact price that I'm looking at, which you guys can find to the right hand side all the way over here. You're going to see the price that you're currently looking at. So I personally prefer the crosshair, but to each his own. Right under the crosshair buttons, you are going to find your trend line tools. Now, typically, most people, you're only really looking for, right, the regular trend line. So you can be able to draw your trend lines however you draw them, right? Draw them through your charts and stuff like that. Move them around. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, there are plenty of different trend line tools that you can actually use. I know people use the ray, for example. So if I had a ray going on, right, I can do a quick ray and do that. You can use info line, which is pretty similar to a trend line, all right, but it will give you a little bit more information on what it is that you're looking at as well. And then on top of all the fancy trend lines, this is also where you're going to be able to find your horizontal and your vertical lines. When you're drawing up, for example, your support and resistance, you might want to have a horizontal line going, have that click so that you can draw up your support and resistance, and make it super simple. So all of your kind of like your basic markup tools are going to be right here in this very section. Now, what's cool about this is that with each of these tools that you guys can find to the left-hand side of the screen, you can also add them to your favorites. So right here on the side, you're also going to see a star next to every single tool. You guys can see I have my trend line starred. I have my arrow starred, right? I like to do arrows a lot when I'm teaching or when I'm showing certain things. Horizontal line, vertical line, and the horizontal ray. I have all of these starred. And when you go ahead and star them, it's going to add them to your favorites, which will give you kind of like a little pop-up toolbox here that you can keep on your screen and make it even easier to access your tools without having to go here and actually look for them and search for them. If I want a trend line, I have it saved to my favorites. I can put this right here if I want. And then anytime I want a trend line, I'll just come and boom, I'll click the trend line. If I want to do a box, for example, I'll go ahead and I'll add a box for a zone, and I can do that too. So the favorites tab, it's something that I think is going to be very helpful for a lot of people to start using if you guys weren't familiar or haven't used it already. It's something that when I first started trading, I didn't use, but I didn't use it because I wasn't aware of how it all worked, right? So you can add all of these tools to your favorites, and again, it'll be in a pop-up window on your screen, which you can then move over and put wherever it is that you want to put it. All right, now moving on to the next one is going to be our Fibonacci tools. I personally don't use Fibonacci much, but again, this is where you're going to find all of your fib stuff. Okay, so you go ahead, you got your drop down going, and you're going to see all the different tools you can use for your fib retracements. Under your fib tools, you have your shapes, and shapes is something that I use a lot as well. I usually only use the brush, so the brush to be able to write, right, to draw things, right, you can use the brush, or the rectangle. As you guys see, I have the rectangle on my favorites as well, and I use that primarily for, again, boxing up certain areas or setting up specific zones, whether it's a buy zone, a sell zone, or a zone that I am looking at. There's a bunch of different shapes that you guys can go ahead and add to your chart. Another good one is if you guys are familiar, for example, with the teacup strategy, right? So you can add an arch, right, and go ahead and get your teacup in, or your cup and handle, whatever it is that you want to call it, whatever you're trading, and you can add these different tools to your screen. But this is how you're going to go ahead and do it. Under the shapes tool, you have your text boxes. So if I wanted to write anything, all right, on my screen, I can go ahead and make a quick note for myself, right, as I'm doing my markups. And obviously all of these tools, depending on the person, they're all going to have different uses that you guys might be able to, leverage them for. Completely up to the trader and the person that's using it. But again, to have access to these tools are definitely a helpful thing when you are trading. Let me go ahead and put my glasses on real quick. I'm trying to get better at wearing these things, man. You know how it goes, right? You know how it goes. So under the fibs tool, we have our positioning tools, and the positioning tools are pretty cool, but to be honest with you, I don't really use any of these anymore, especially now that I trade binary options. But these are more for like MT4 and MT5, where like, you can do your long position, for example. So let's just say I'm setting up, for a buy. I can go ahead and kind of get these parameters ahead of time. So set my stop loss, which is going to be the red area. All right, set a take profit, which is going to be up here in my green area. Then I can double click, open it. All right, look at the exact inputs and the price. And let's just say, if you are trading on MT4 or on another platform, right, you can take these exact price points and go ahead and put those in. So I already did my markups. I know exactly what I'm looking for. Now let's take this to the actual broker or the platform in which I'm executing the trade and go ahead and put in these parameters. Again, just making your life so much easier. Now this is obviously for a buy. You have the same thing for the sells as well, which is here, the short positions, right, which is the opposite way, right? So you go ahead and set a short position, bada bing, bada boom, and then I go ahead and open it up and you got your exact parameters right here. Now, obviously, I just showed you guys the quick way of using it. You can also just come in here and manually put in your parameters and manually set this up yourself with, each price. If you're looking for a specific price to get in and to get out, you can manually set this up and then just watch the market as it goes ahead and either goes towards your stop loss or goes towards your take profit. Obviously, we always want it to go towards the take profit. With that though, there are many other tools that you can use here, like for example, the forecast tool, the data range, the price range, so on and so forth. These are tools that may come in handy for your trading if you are trading leverage style MT4 and MT5. For whatever reason, TradingView does have an emoji section, and I'm not really sure why you would need to add emojis to your screen as a trader, but if you're the type of person that likes to, I guess, decorate your charts a little bit, all right, I don't know. why people actually use these, right? Maybe a light bulb might go off, right? I don't know, honestly, why you would use emojis. I have never in my life put an emoji on my chart. I think that's weird, right? I'm like, what is going on here? But the option is there, right? So it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So you can add emojis to your screen. The measurement tool is something that I do use a lot. Again, it allows you to measure out the distance within a specific trade or how far the actual markets has moved. So let me go ahead, jump down a little bit and erase everything for you guys. So let's say I'm looking at this right here and I want to see, all right, exactly how much the market's moved from this drop, from the very top down to the bottom of this drop. It'll show you right here on the measurement tool. Markets dropped down a little bit over 40 pips on the drop. It took about 5 hours and 10 minutes for this to happen, and that was 62 candles on the 5-minute chart. So this is actually some good information that you can actually get from a trade, especially if, again, if you're logging, back testing, checking out how much a specific currency pair moves, on a day-to-day basis, what the range is looking like, right? The average daily range, little things like that. And it will also show you from here to here the middle of this trade. And as you guys can see, even at that midpoint, right, the halfway mark going down, we got some nice retracements right here and a pullback and a retest to that, to that midsection, right? So if you do trade fibs, that might be something for you. I don't trade fibs, so under your measurement tool, you got your little zoom in button right here, which I really don't use often because as you guys can see, I'm just not the best at that, right? So you can go ahead and you can zoom in to like this, for example, and that'll be like a faster kind of zoom. Then you go ahead and you press the zoom out button to kind of get yourself all the way back zoomed out. I usually just use the scrolly on my mouse pad. So if you guys, if you're on a laptop, then you probably have like a touchpad. So I'll use like the touchpad, all right, to make it very simple to scroll in and scroll out. And what you can also do is if you guys come to right here, the price area, this section right here, you can actually make this bigger, right? So go up, click it and go up to zoom in a little bit. You can click it to go down to zoom out. And then on the bottom, right, at the time area, you can do the same thing with the time. So you can go this way to zoom in more. You can go this way to zoom out. That's more or less how I do it personally. I don't really use this too much to do this, but you might enjoy this. You might enjoy it a little more than I do. So these here down on the bottom aren't really tools that I use very often. I might use the lock tool every once in a while, and what this does is it allows you, so let's say I'm drawing certain things up, right, and maybe you have a habit of like accidentally moving your drawings around. With the lock tool, it'll lock all drawings to the screen, so I can't move any of the things that I drew up, right? And then if I take it off, as you guys can see, I can move the arrow around. I put it on, I cannot move the arrow around. So any of the things that you draw on the screen are going to be locked to the screen if lock is enabled. I always have this checked off right here, and what this is as you guys can see, it says new drawings are replicated to all chart layouts when the same ticker is selected. So what this is if I have multiple charts up, anytime I make a drawing here on the 5-minute, it's going to be drawing on all of the other charts as well. So as long as I have Euro AUD up on multiple charts, one drawing on one chart will go ahead and draw to all of the other charts at the same time. So I always have that there. And then last but not least, you have your trash can to go ahead and delete everything on your screen. So that pretty much wraps it up for the left-hand side of the screen. Let's move on to the top. So on the top side of the screen, this is where you're going to find more or less a lot of the customization aspects of the chart itself, right? So when you're looking at certain things like the time frame, the indicators, the setting up layouts and stuff like that, all of that is going to be found right here on the top. Let's get into it. So the first thing that you're going to notice is going to be actually selecting a currency pair, okay? So this is where you're going to be searching up your currencies, and let's just say, for example, I want to look at USD, so I'll type that in. So this is all of our USD pairs, JPY. What's really cool about TradingView is that, again, you can trade any kind of instrument when it comes to stocks, futures, forex, crypto, indices, you name it, it is right here on this platform. You can have it selected as all, or you can go to a specific instrument that you're looking for. In my case, I do forex, so I only have it set to show me forex currency pairs as I am searching. Now, a big thing as well, and we spoke about this a little bit in the beginning, is the actual exchanges that you guys have access to. So these are all going to be regulated exchanges in the forex market. These are the only ones that are shown on TradingView. So you're not going to see any unregulated exchanges here or exchange prices. These are going to be the actual market prices dependent on the exchange or depending on that regulated broker. For example, Awanda is a US regulated broker, FXCM is a regulated broker, Forex.com is a regulated broker. All of these exchanges, for the most part, have the same prices, but the prices might be off just a little bit by maybe a few pips or a few points in the market. So it is always best that, depending on what broker you're trading on, you make sure that you're also using an exchange that correlates the closest to the actual platform you're trading. So for example, what I have found is that typically I used to trade a lot on Awanda, and I used to use all Awanda pairs. So I'll click here and you'll go to Awanda, and again, it'll show you all of the currency pairs only for Awanda exchange. So only the currency pairs that are available on the Awanda exchange, right? But what I've noticed is I trade a lot on Pocket Option, for example, and I actually noticed that on Pocket Option, comparing the prices from the actual Pocket Option platform where they're not trading OTC to actual TradingView, I noticed personally that FXCM, which is right here, tends to have closer prices to actual Pocket Option. So whatever exchange Pocket Option is using, it's not necessarily FXCM, but again, what I've noticed is that between Pocket and FXCM, the prices tend to be pretty close enough for me to be able to execute my trades with no problems. I don't see any jumps, any spikes, anything weird going on. So I always keep it at FXCM. Now again, this is my personal preference. You want to go ahead and, as you are trading, make sure you look at the prices on TradingView and the prices where you're actually going to be trading at, even if it's on MT4 and MT5, and make sure those prices are closely correlated. And again, that is going to be dependent on the broker that you are trading on. So there are a lot of different ones that you can choose from. Obviously, you want to make sure that when you are choosing, you're not just typing in, for example, USD, JPY, and just clicking any random one. You want to have a set consistency on the exchange that you are using. So I always recommend just make sure you go to all sources and you choose whichever one that you personally want to use, and only look for the currency pairs on that specific exchange. Now, next to the actual currency pairs, you have your time frames. Now, these time frames are going to be all of the time frames in which you can choose to have on your charts. As you guys can see, I have favorited the 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, and 1 hour. These are the ones that I like to look at the most. You can scale all the way up to a 12-month range. You can scale all the way in to a 1 second time frame, which is insane. Or you can actually do a custom range on the bottom where you can type in any specific custom time frame that you want to go ahead and take a look at. And again, you can add this to your favorites so that right here on the toolbar itself, you only see those time frames, and it's easy for you to sift between the time frames that you have favorited to make your life that much easier. Next to your chart time frames, you have your bar styles, okay? And what your bar styles is going to be is pretty much just setting up your candlesticks, okay? Now, I say setting up your candlesticks, but in reality, you don't have to use candlesticks. So I know everyone is more familiar with candlesticks when you come into the trading world, but you also have bars that you can trade on. You have hollow candles, which look a little bit different. You have the line chart, as well as like AkashX, for example, and these are all just popular layouts that you can go ahead and choose, and each one of them are meant to be utilized a little bit different. Like, for example, the AkashX candles do not move the same as the regular candlestick candles. Next up is one of my favorite tools, which is the indicator tool, okay? And I'm sure a lot of you here are probably familiar with indicators. You either have used indicators or you're looking to use indicators, and I can guarantee you that TradingView has the widest range of indicators for you to be able to utilize. So when you go ahead and click the indicators tab, you can search up an indicator yourself. So if I'm wanting to search the RSI, I'll go ahead and type that in, and it will load up my RSI there. I'll go ahead and I can click that and add that to my screen. But more importantly, you have a few different tabs that you can select here as well. So at the very top, you have your favorites, which is all of my favorited indicators. You have scripts, all right, which is pretty much just custom scripts that you are able to code into TradingView and kind of create your own indicators and make it like a preset so that you can always come back to utilize it, or you can even share these scripts out with other people so that other people can have your preset scripts, and anytime they click it, they'll have all of your indicators and the settings loaded up to their screen too. So that's pretty cool, you know, creating your own scripts. Technical indicators is just regular indicators. So these are indicators that you will probably find on other platforms, but again, TradingView does have a very wide range of technical indicators that you can utilize, from, you know, indicators to strategies to profiles to actual market patterns, right? So looking up specific patterns and being able to add that indicator to your screen to make your life a little bit easier. They have financial based indicators, and then they also have community scripts. So community scripts goes back to what I was talking about before, where as a member of the TradingView community, you are actually able to code in and create your own scripts. And if you make these scripts public for everyone to be able to use, this is where you'll be able to find these in the community tab and have other people able to use it. So you can see the creator of these specific indicators or these presets right here, and how many people actually use or liked the indicator. So you can drop a like on it to let other people know that it is an actual good indicator to use. Obviously, when you're seeing some of these indicators that have thousands of likes on them, this is probably a very wide range indicator that a lot of people are using and a lot of people enjoy. Next to your indicators, you are going to have your indicator templates, and this is where it actually gets really cool. One of my favorite features of TradingView is the fact that you are able to actually save templates, because as we know, with being a trader, you have to be able to adapt to market conditions and how the markets are moving. So one strategy or something that you might look for in a specific market might not work for every market that you're trading. In fact, you might have different things that you look for different currencies that you're trading. You can come in and you can save these indicator presets or save these indicator templates, add them to your favorites, so that anytime you get on the charts, as you guys can see, I have plenty of different templates up there. But whenever I get on the charts, let's just say if I want to sift through or change what it is that I'm looking at, I can just come to the top. I can select my RockStarrFX indicator template, and it will automatically load up the 3-step setup, as you guys are probably very familiar with here on my channel. So it'll load this up with my indicator, my settings, and everything is good to go. I am ready to trade. Now, aside from being able to set up your indicator presets and templates, which in itself is a pretty dope feature, you can also set up chart alerts. And this is more or less for people that like to trade off a specific price point. So let's just say, for example, I'm waiting for the market to come down to this price right here. I see the markets are dropping right now and it's tanking. And I'm like, you know what? I think around this point here looks like a good level of support. Hypothetically, this is where I want to go ahead and get in on my trade. What I can do is I can actually set up an alert to get notified when the market comes down and hits this point. Now, with these alerts, there are many different ways you can set them up. You can do the cross up, the cross down, when the markets are less than or greater than a specific price point. There's a bunch of different customizations that you can do on that. You could have a one-time alert, or you can have it set as an alert to where every single time the market comes to this price, you get alerted. And the cool part is that there's multiple different ways to get alerted by TradingView. You can download the app and get a notification, a push notification from your phone right on the app. You can have a pop-up on your screen, which if you're using the desktop version like I am right here, typically it'll show. So no matter what currency pair I'm on, no matter what it is that I'm looking at on the TradingView website, it's going to pop up on my screen to let me know, boom, the market has hit the price that you've been waiting for. It's time to take a look at it. Or you can set up email notifications. Now, with these alerts, they're more than just pop-ups and notifications. You can also set specific sounds for the alert to come in, and you can change the sound right here. And you can also change the amount of time that that sound plays. So quick 5 seconds, beep, 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 beep. It'll beep for 5 seconds. If you want it for longer, you could do 30 seconds. You could do a minute, where your alert will be going off for 1 minute straight to make sure that you do not miss that entry point. Now, another feature that I absolutely love and that I use a lot when it comes to TradingView is the market replay button. Now, what the market replay button is this allows you to go back in time and replay certain things that happened in the market. I use this all the time for back testing, going back and being able to test out a strategy. Instead of having to wait for my next trading opportunity, I can say, okay, you know what? This is what I look for in the markets. This is the confirmations that I'm looking for. Let's go back and see how it panned out previously in the markets, and if I would have been able to clear that trade based off of what it is that I look for. So once you start up your market replay, you're going to see the settings for the replay actually pop up, and depending on what device you're on, so if you're on mobile, if you're on the app, if you're using the web view, or if you have the downloaded version to your computer, it might look a little bit different. But for me, all of my market replay buttons are right here at the bottom, and this is how they work. So the very first button over here is going to be your jump to button, which is what you guys see me originally press. So we can jump back, we can go over here, so on and so forth, test this out. We can come here, test this out. I use this a lot for back testing. I also use this for when I'm showing live examples, or doing a training, or with one of the students or something like that. So you can go ahead and you can jump back. You can press the play button. Before I press play, I'm going to change the speed of how fast or how slow it actually plays out. You can make it very fast, or you can make it very slow. I'm going to put it at a 0.30 speed. Press play, and as you guys can see, completely hands-free, we're going to watch the market replay. So it's showing you candle by candle how the markets move. You can see your indicators moving as well, but it's showing you candle by candle what happened during that time in the markets. So it's a very useful feature in my opinion. You can speed it up a little bit if you want, make it go faster, make it go slower. It's completely up to you. And what you can also do is click that pause button, and you can fast forward candle by candle, so one at a time. Right, so now you can take your time and really look at what happened and how it happened as you're doing your market replays. Now, coming on over to the last few buttons of the top section of your toolbar, you're gonna have this right here, which is gonna be your chart layout. And this is going to be dependent on which TradingView package or membership you actually have access to. So if you have any membership higher than the basic membership, you're actually allowed to have multiple charts open at once. And this is where it can get really fun. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen this, where you typically see traders have more than one chart open at a time. This is great for doing multiple time frame analysis. So let's say I'm looking at a specific currency pair and I want to have all different time frames up. So here I have the 1 minute, here I have the 5 minute, here I have the 15 minute, and here I have like a 1 hour chart. So I'm looking at the same currency pair on all charts, which is awesome, but I'm looking at what they're doing on different time frames. And this allows me to work a little bit better and get what we call confluence. As long as I see all my time frames marking up, telling me the same thing, this can be a great trade opportunity to get into. Now, aside from using it for just one trade opportunity, what traders often do is, if you come up to the chart layout section and you scroll down, you can actually customize this a little bit. So one thing that I can do is I can uncheck the symbols one. And if I uncheck symbols, this allows me to have multiple different currency pairs up on each chart. Right now, with symbols checked, all of my charts are selected to the same exact currency pair. When I uncheck it, I can come to this one, for example, and I can make this one AUD USD, while the rest of them are Euro AUD. And this could be a good feature for looking for multiple trade opportunities up at the same time. So let's say I have them all set to the 5 minute chart, but I'm looking at 4 different currency pairs at once to see which one is going to get me that entry point that I'm looking for. And from there, it's really just process of elimination. Obviously, you don't want to take every single trade, but I'm looking at all of them to see, okay, which one is setting up to be the best, and whichever one hits first with all of my confirmations, that's going to be the trade that I get into first. So this is pretty much allowing you to have what we call a wide range of real estate on your screen. You have a lot of chart real estate here. You don't have to go from pair to pair to pair. You can load them all up, especially if you have a big screen or multiple screens. I have an ultra wide monitor here. So here I can comfortably load up at least 4 charts on my screen. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could probably do a little bit more, and I could be looking at all of them all at once, getting ready to go ahead and execute or implement my trade, which is pretty dope. I love this feature. Now, right next to that, you're gonna see your chart settings tool. And your chart settings is pretty much just customizing your chart. I know I get that question all the time. People asking me, how do I customize my charts, right? How do you change your candle colors and little things like that? How do you make it so that, the grid isn't as visible, right? You're, reducing the opacity or the transparency on the actual grid itself. Being able to view certain lines and, having the price up there and so on and so forth. All of that is going to be found right here in your chart settings. The cool part about TradingView is that not only do you have all of these tools right here, but a lot of these tools can actually be found if you just right click on the screen itself, right? So if you right click, you're going to see that you have your alerts here. So you can set alerts just by right clicking. You can actually execute a trade from right here. You can add a note, you can add watch list, you can add, color theme. So I have the dark theme selected. You can also go to your chart settings right here. So a lot of this stuff that we just ran over can be simply accessed just through right clicking. I personally don't right click too often. I think the only thing that I use the right click for is to reset my chart view. So let's say it's looking crazy like this. I'll go ahead and reset it, and it will recenter everything. All right, and make my life a little bit easier. So I can just reset. Boom, boom, boom. And another thing I use it for is the chart settings. So coming to the chart settings and being able to customize that. Screenshots is going to be the last thing that we go over on the top. And I think screenshots is something that a lot of traders tend to use. What I like to use this feature for is for journaling my trades. So a lot of the times when I trade and I'm doing my trading journal, I like to take a before and after picture of the actual chart and the chart setup that I'm looking at. Now, the reason why I like to do this is because, you know, we are often going to take trades where maybe we're looking at it and in the beginning we're thinking this is an amazing trade and we end up not winning the trade and we're like, what happened? Well, once the trade already happened, it's kind of hard to go back and see that, in my opinion. I just like taking the before and after screenshot, so I can go ahead and take a screenshot right now, open it in a new tab. All right, it's going to load that up, and as you guys see right here, it's loading up that screenshot, and now I have the screenshot of what just happened in the market, right? So I do the before and after pictures. You can also go ahead and you can download these images straight from TradingView. You can copy a link and maybe send it out to somebody else, or if you guys are into Twitter, you can actually tweet it to somebody. I know Instagram just came out with threads. Not sure if TradingView is going to be adding threads to this feature, but that would be pretty interesting if they do that in the future. But for now, even if they don't, again, you can always download a link. You can copy that link, send the link out, and if somebody clicks the link, it'll load up the screenshotted picture for that person to be able to view everything that you marked up on your chart and what just happened. So pretty cool. I like that. Last but not least, we're going to move to the right-hand side of the screen. And to be honest with you, I don't use any of these features on the right-hand side except for the watch list. The watch list is the primary thing that I use on the right. And then also you have your alerts right here as well. I think the watch list is what you're going to get the most out of when it comes to the right-hand side of the screen. And the reason why I like to use the watch list is because the watch list makes my life easier. So instead of having to search for a currency pair every single time I want to trade, I just add all of the currency pairs that I trade to my watch list, and that makes it easier for me to just go down and just click them one by one. I no longer have to search them. Now, aside from having the watch list here, what you can also do is you can actually group your watch list as well. So here, as you guys can see, I have Nadex 5 minute. We should actually just change this, because at the time I used to just only have the currency pairs that were able to be traded on Nadex 5-minute binaries. As you guys know, they only trade about, I think, about 7 to 8 pairs. So I only had those 8 pairs there. But again, you can create multiple different groups on your watch list simply by coming up to the top of the watch list on the right hand side, put add a section, and as you add a section, I can come up here and I can put gold/DXY. And now I know this section is only for my gold and DXY, right? I can put down here, add a section, and I can put crypto. I know you guys can't see that because my head is in the way, so there you go, right? So crypto only being at the bottom of my watch list. So again, you can fully customize the watch list however you want it. I love having the watch list there. And another thing that I do with my watch list is, as I'm trading, and this is just kind of like a little RockStarr tip, what I do, we know that at times we might be looking at multiple different pairs at once. What I like to do is once I get my markups and my analysis, I may look at Euro AUD and say, you know what, it's not time to get into this trade just yet, but I do see something setting up. What I like to do is simply just right click it, and I will flag it a specific color to let me know what's going on with that currency pair. So if I'm looking for buys on Euro AUD, just to make my life easier, I'll right click it and I'll make it blue. If I'm looking for sells on CAD JPY, I'll right click it, I'll make it red. Just so that as I'm trading and I'm going around and I'm sifting through the different pairs, anytime I come back to this, I know, all right, Rico, you should only be looking for sells here. This is what you saw set up. If it doesn't set up, then it's not a good trade. If it does, awesome, let's get into that sell. So that is pretty much it for this tutorial. But before we go, I'm going to give you guys 2 more little bonuses that I see a lot of traders experience and they don't know how to get out of it. So if you're ever on TradingView and for whatever reason your indicators disappear like this, okay, and you can't get your stochastic back, or you're wondering where your RSI is at and nothing is showing up, it is simply because you double clicked on the screen. So if you go ahead and you double click on your actual chart, it will go ahead and pretty much just full screen the chart itself. If you double click again, it'll bring your bottom indicators back. So that's number one. Number two is sometimes you might have multiple indicators up and you might have all of the data and stuff like that for the actual indicators taking up real estate on your screen, and you want to get rid of this. If you just come over here, you can click this arrow. All right, and your indicators will still be there, but they're now bunched up into a little group so that you don't have to see it on your charts anymore. And then when you do want to see it, you'll come right back over here, whether it be at the bottom or over here. You go ahead and click it, and now you got all your indicators there, and you can go ahead and you can customize it, or you can choose to hide a specific indicator from your screen. So that's pretty much it for this TradingView walkthrough. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, subscribe if you are brand new to the channel, because we are making your trading journey just so much easier than what it currently is. And if you haven't done so already, I would highly advise checking out this video that's on the screen right now, because if it's popping up, it is more than likely because the YouTube algorithm thinks that this might be the best video for you to watch next. This is your boy Rico, aka RockStarrFX. I'm out. Peace.